Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are here in the wonderful Twitter beach down in the Croisette at Cannes at the Ad Festival. I'm here with Joel Lunenfeld, who is the Global Brand and Creative Strategy Officer for Twitter.
Nice to be here.
Yeah, Joel, how's it going so far? How's your Cannes experience going?
Well, I got in yesterday and I'm here today, so it's going really well.
Yeah.
Look at the beach, look at the sun. Great meeting so far, a lot of energy and excitement.
Excellent. And possibly the best setting we've had for a conversation so far.
I want all my conversations to be here from now on.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no need for offices with windows and doors.
Exactly.
This is beautiful. And I think we avoided the bad weather. Yesterday there was a storm, wasn't there?
We don't need any of that.
Excellent. So I suppose we'll start with Twitter Beach. This is fantastic this year. It's a big improvement on last year's one. And I see you've got a Go Live theme.
Yeah.
Obviously that's around kind of live video, around live conversations.
Yeah.
What's the real concept behind it, and what do you hope to achieve from Go Live?
Yeah, that's a great question. When we think about Twitter, when we talk to advertisers and they want to know, like, what's your superpower? What's the one unique thing that we should come to Twitter for over anyone else? It's that Twitter is a live connection to culture. So it's a live connection to sports, movies, politics, entertainment, really anything that consumers care about. So the theme here at Cannes is to partner with some of the biggest names in entertainment, brands that are launching campaigns, folks that are launching products, movie trailers, things like that. And every day we're dropping more and more news and events into culture. And then you can actually see in the data how people are reacting. You can see how it literally starts to trend around the world and see it happen live. So the main message that we want to get across to marketers is this type of live content marketing is something that isn't just a nice to have, it's a mandatory. And we're actually we're practicing what we preach. So that's what this setup is about, and that's what this whole experience is about. We have Periscope set up where you can look at people that are cliff diving, a few miles from here, or textile makers in Guatemala, and you could just beam right into them and see what they're doing in their world. And that's really the power of that live connection.
And also taking, I suppose, that data and then adding the creativity path around it for marketeers and for advertisers.
Yeah, when we start to see a meme trend, one example would be like the crying Jordan face. I'm sure,
yes.
even if you're not into American basketball, and
yeah.
you can't avoid that. And last night with the Warriors and Cavs game, you see, the heartache over the fans instantly turn into memes and creativity, and it's this kind of mashup of culture that you see happen on Twitter. You see the event drop, the news happen, but then it's the memes. If you're following the elections, like Trump tweeted something about crooked Hillary being endorsed by Obama, she responds with delete your account, and then instantly you see GIFs and reactions, and that becomes the story. And that's really the type of culture mashup that is the most powerful to really tap into for an advertiser.
Absolutely. And two things I'd like to pick up on there. One, you were talking about that live event experience, and in particular in sports. I mean, the Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather was a real kind of turning point for you guys in terms of Periscope. Are we going to see more of that, especially now that there's 360 video and you can almost be in a sports ground and have all different four corners of the fans of the game kind of recorded? Yeah,
we just actually launched something with Samsung. It's a test we're doing, 360 video at the NBA Finals. So they were tweeting out, during commercial breaks, during the game itself, 360 tweet that you could look around and see if you want to watch what's happening on the court, cool. If you want to turn around and see the fans react or the press react, it's a whole other angle and it's happening live. I think what we're going to start to see, especially around the Olympics, I mean, you're seeing it now in football. You're seeing all the reactions to all the games that are happening. You're seeing it live here. But the Olympics is definitely going to be not just about what's happening, in the event, but the athlete-to-athlete interactions, the fan reactions, country by country, and then the advertisers looking for that opportune moment to jump in. If you think about what happened in the World Cup with Snickers, you're going to see much more of that as brands are literally setting themselves up to respond 24/7.
Wow. And that's an interesting point with the brands and how they're working and how they're doing 24/7. Does that mean from a Twitter perspective, yes, media agencies are still important, but with the power that you guys have got and the data you guys have, are you finding yourselves having more and more conversations directly with the brands, or is it a bit of agency work and brands, or are you finding yourselves a little more open to going direct to brands?
So it's funny because we see ourselves as the great facilitators of all those relationships.
Yes.
In every office around the world, we have these war rooms set up for whether it's The Voice and you have a brand that's sponsoring that, or it's, the Olympics. And the role that we tend to play is like bringing together the media teams, the creative teams, the clients, the legal teams, and like and our data teams that literally look and see, yes, this is trending right now. What's the creative that we're going to produce? The creative teams go off, they iterate, they bring it back to the client. Then we talk to the media team. How do we amplify this? And more we're seeing this fluidity between teams that we've never seen before. The other thing that we hear is it's making advertising fun again. Like if I've been on the agency side for 10 years before I came to Twitter, and the loneliness of sitting there and working on a banner campaign versus like the excitement of being in the room and witnessing something, whether it's a Super Bowl or UEFA, you just start to feel the electricity, and that's really the role we're playing. It's like facilitator, which is very much what our platform does.
Yeah, absolutely. And I suppose one of the key things for that, when you're playing the facilitator, measurement has become a huge piece for brands, for agencies, getting that correct ROI.
Yeah.
And there's so much kind of measurement. And actually, I suppose the spotlight is more and more on digital platforms
100%,
now.
Yeah.
And how do you guys go from, obviously, the most basic of measurement is a like or a love or a share. Are you guys looking at how you can extend that and create a more intelligent and a more thoughtful engagement piece?
Yeah, I think it's kind of two paths. The first is making sure we have the right translation, like what does engagement mean? So for the past 5 years now, we've been doing like the most recognizable KPI studies, like brand awareness, brand engagement, purchase intent, etc. And we tie those to all campaigns. So you can see, hey, we had a giant spike. This one tweet was retweeted 10,000 times. We saw this many impressions on platform and this much engagement. But then we're able to turn it back to, well, for every dollar spent in store, what was the ROI for that CPG marketer? Or what was the ROI for that auto marketer? So it's definitely showing almost like a Rosetta Stone. What's the translation from engagement to ROI? And then the other piece that we're doing that I think is really innovative is in-the-moment analytics. So through our ad dashboards, you'll be able to see, if something's responding well, if you see it reacting, what's the audience that's reacting to it? Are they the right target? Where do they over-index in interest? Like, what type of influence do they have? So it's almost like a real-time influence ROI that you're starting to see on the platform. But it's really important that we ground it back to what's the purchase intent, what's the in-store sales, and what's the awareness.
Which is all very good in terms of how you relate that data, I suppose, and all of that information and produce creativity, because I think that's the key, isn't it, now? If you can use this data and you can creatively develop a campaign around it, and from your point of view, I suppose you're in quite a good position to do that.
Yeah, it's interesting because we get, kind of the best of the new world of engagement and the best of the old world in terms of like true ROI and measurability. And then you look at something like video, and we're measured by MOAT and Nielsen and all the ways that you measure video and views. But we also get this other layer on top of it, which is our integration with DoubleClick, for example. You don't just see what is the ROI of an ad. You get to see if it was retweeted, is that more powerful than if it was just tweeted alone? Or what's the power of like a like? You actually get to relate that to ROI. So it's kind of bringing both worlds together.
And alongside video, which obviously is starting to dominate trends and insights in the global media landscape, are there any other key trends and insights that you've picked up from this year and thought, wow, I kind of didn't predict that, but it's interesting to see that has become a major player in how brands are using their campaigns or how the industry is reacting?
Yeah, I think kind of the breakout word for 2016 has been live.
Right.
Which is kind of ironic because it was like the first television ever was live and the first radio was live. So it's a modality that we've had media from the beginning, right? So you've got, the first TV ever brought to you live commercial breaks. Fast forward to 2016 and all the platforms, whether it's streaming on the web or streaming on the phone, has literally just brought the live stream and then brought it to a different device. And I think something that Twitter is doing that's very unique, really starting with Periscope, is this whole idea of live being a two-way participatory experience. So everything from being live and watching reactions and hearts to answering questions to in some cases you're seeing brands use it where they're shooting commercials live and then showing behind the scenes during the commercial. It's this two-way interaction that you've just never seen before in live. And then when it comes to Twitter, it's not just about, the screen, it's about the connected audience behind it. The reason why Twitter has become the second screen to television is because of the reactions to what's happening on screen and the connected audience. And now we're merging the two together. So imagine the live stream plus the live reactions all built into one platform. I think that's going to be the breakout of this year and next.
And that's quite revolutionary as well. I mean, because you have an industry such as TV, which has been so scared. And how are you finding them in the US? I imagine they're more open to change, and in the UK and Europe they are. I've just been in South America with some of the television guys there, and they're still talking about going digital for the first time. I presume, depending on what region you're in, it's always difficult trying to open up their minds to the possibilities of partnerships as opposed to being taken over.
I mean, I'll take Brazil for example. I won't mention network names, but there are very powerful networks there. They're all our partners now in what we call Amplify, which is taking live instant replays and tweeting those out, because they're seeing it's just another channel for people to view their video, essentially. The advertiser comes across to the screen. It's an easy way. They understand what that is. And even like the toughest of critics are starting to understand that we have to program across all screens. And not many people are going to a TV network's website or mobile website to view video. They're coming to places like Twitter because that's where the audience is. So that's like one extreme. The other extreme would be, I'd say, like, the NFL in the United States. Also major broadcaster that has rights across the board, different cable, different digital partners, and they chose Twitter to be a live partner for streaming on Thursday nights because of the connected audience. The reaction to football on Twitter it makes it so much more fun and entertaining to watch. So we're really bringing all of that together into one experience. The stream, plus the tweets, plus the periscopes, plus the fan commentary in one viewing experience. And that I'd say, like, if we can get that done, with a partner like the NFL that really protects and cherishes their rights, we can do that with many, many more partners.
And is that becoming far easier to monetize now? And I say that from a mobile perspective as well. We looked at, I think for me, one of the most frustrating things in the last 10 years in the industry is we have these wonderful tools to do mobile campaigns, yet no one or no brand, or a few I suppose, have been willing enough to actually try it. And you think, something like Twitter, Facebook, the figures are showing that 80% plus are on mobile when they're using it. How difficult has that been to really push through, and how frustrating is it for yourselves?
I've been at Twitter 5 years, and I have been proselytizing the power of social and the power of engagement for years. And to be quite honest, the thing that's broken through more than anything is video, because people really get and understand, one, the ROI of video, two, what you can communicate with sight, sound, and motion. And like, if we just look at Twitter alone, in the last 12 months, there are 220 times more video views than there were before. Like, not 220%, 220 times more video views. And like, it's ramping up in a hockey stick growth. So you see that, and then all of a sudden you understand we can bring our video assets to social. We can bring our video assets to a platform like Twitter, and it just becomes a whole different environment to get more views and get more excitement and reactions. So I think, that's become like the great common denominator that people understand.
Which is great, and something that you want to see happen, and we all do, I think.
Yeah, video is just, it's more entertaining, it's more fun, and the barrier to creation is so much lower for consumers than it used to be. Like, Vine really brought to, it's probably one of the biggest and most influential mobile video platforms ever, because it took people that just weren't creators and said, look, for 6 seconds I could do something interesting or funny or create a meme, and it really lowered the barrier to video creation. Before that, you didn't have many people sitting there and just shooting mobile video and uploading it in real time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Joel, what does success look like for you in the next 6 to 12 months at Twitter? What are the key objectives that you guys want to fulfill?
Yeah, I think just stepping back at Twitter overall over this next 6 months, the first I'd say is telling our story in a way that we haven't done it before. The world definitely has quite high awareness of Twitter, but usage and understanding don't always match when you go up from location by location. So telling our story and the value that Twitter really is about what's happening in the world right now, and it's differentiated. It's not a social network. It's not about seeing your friends or your friends' babies. Like, it's really about witnessing and experiencing the world. So the first I'd say is telling our story. The second is continuing to grow and innovate in the world of video, specifically live video. I'd mentioned the NFL. Looking at more and more partnerships around news and entertainment and sports and all the visceral live events that we like to see, bringing them to Twitter in a very uniquely Twitter way. And I think the third success metric I would just look at is continued growth of advertising and media in general. When you see the news, when you see what's happening in the world, you see so much of it started on Twitter. Before it's in the dictionary, it's on Twitter. Before it's on Sports Center, it starts on Twitter. So maintaining that cultural relevance is probably like the third most crucial point for us. So telling our story, really expanding live video, and maintaining this relevance and this live connection to culture.
Wonderful. And I suppose one last question:
Sure.
what are you most looking forward to? A bit of fun. What are you most looking forward to seeing in Cannes? Are you
No fun.
Are you able to get to any of the parties? Is there anyone that strikes your attention? I hear a rumor that Take That are going to be playing. A part of Run DMC are going to be on another yacht. So
there's lots of yachts. We're actually throwing a really interesting gathering here with Spotify, where we've got a dinner kind of beforehand, a private executive dinner with Tony Bennett.
Oh,
and
wow.
then we've got Kygo and Mo and DJ Mick here, so it'll be a fun kind of experience across the board. But I think what I'm looking forward to at Cannes more than anything is I love looking at the winners and starting to see the trends that will inform next year. If you looked at last year, social movements, Like a Girl, all those types of, you see how that played into 2017. So the winners coming out of 2016, I think, will really inform the future trends in advertising, and that excites me the most.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Joel. Thank you for your
Thank you.
time.
Great to talk to you.